Today we're going to work on this Yatming, early 70s, I think it's 73, 74, around that year, Lincoln Continental IV by Yatming, with opening doors and some missing parts on the back and a missing part on the bumper there. I think that's why I'm going to go ahead and just put this in my junkyard diorama. Let's get it taken apart and put some type of distressed finish on it. Get started by drilling the mounting post. These style of mounting posts are a little bit harder to drill. They're kind of rounded on top instead of divoted like a Hot Wheels, but I'm getting it. It was really played with. I'm not too worried about cleaning the windows, but I will probably paint the interior a different color. And I might clean this a little bit. I think I'll clean it with some soapy water before I move on. I'll do that next. Okay, I got the interior washed. Looks a lot better. And I cleaned the inside and outside of the vehicle. It looks a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and paint the interior first. I'm going to make this a light blue color. And I think I'm going to make the car blue again and then give it a white top. I'm going to go ahead and do the interior first though. Alright, that will take 2 or 3 coats. I'm going to paint the roof white, and this is a apple barrel satin white, if you were wondering. Okay, I'll let this dry. That'll take a few coats, and then we'll switch to the blue. I'm also going to get the inside. Alright, the roof is ready for another coat, but I'm going to wait on that. Since this is going to be sitting in the junkyard diorama, I want to make the rear quarter and passenger fender look like they're damaged. I already cut some tissue paper. I'm going to glue those pieces on the side and make them look crumpled up and just make it look like it's damaged, like it should be, since it's going to be sitting in a junkyard. Let's start with some watered down wood glue. And, you know, the doors on this, I noticed, have a big gap. So maybe putting some paper on here might close that gap a little bit. There we go. I think that's going to look alright. Kind of looks like it's crumpled. I think once I paint it, it's going to look okay. Just want to do the same thing in the front here. Yeah, I'm going to leave that pretty banged up looking. I'll have to press it down a little bit more, but since the bumper's missing on that side, I think this will look good with the fender all smashed up. Okay, I just need to let this dry real good, and then we can continue on with the process of painting. Okay, I got all the necessary coats on the blue and on the white, I think. Might do one more coat on the white, I'm not sure. The fender looks pretty good and smashed, and the quarter panel as well. Looks like something you would see in a junkyard. I rounded up a back bumper that's going to work, I think. I found this in a scrap pile. This is off a 55 Chevy Gasser, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work. At least it'll have a back bumper now. I might try to find something for taillights, but it don't have to really have taillights. It's going to be in a junkyard. So now I think I want to put it together one time just to see how it looks. If we wanted to stop right here, because you could stop right here if you wanted to, but I will probably end up making it look distressed, rusty. But let's see how it looks like this real quick. Here it is all put together. It's too bad the bumper's broken. If I had the bumper, I would probably leave it like this. Looks like I could still, if I was gonna leave it like this, I'd put one more coat of blue on it, but we're not gonna leave it like this. I just wanted to see. If I had the correct pieces for this, I would strip it down and spray it like this. I like this blue with the white top, and the light blue interior looks nice. Just for fun, I thought I'd go ahead and see what it looks like in the diorama this way. Okay, enough playing around. Let's get it weathered. Alright, it was fun checking it out at that phase, but I think it's going to look better weathered, like it's been sitting in the junkyard for a long time instead. Yeah, I think it would probably look better if the inside of the doors were blue to match the interior. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to start the process by using a watered down paint called Tuscan Red by Apple Barrel, and I'll put a generous amount on the roof and the trunk and the hood. And maybe the edges of the doors. Alright, I'm just going to let that dry. Okay, the red wash is dry. Looking pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to chestnut, another color by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to add some rust. And I'm going to put a good amount on the hood. And some across the top of the doors. And a good amount on the trunk lid, I guess. I think I'm going to do the roof with the artist brush. Okay, that layer of rust is dry. I think I'm going to take I don't know what happened there. I must have had light blue paint on my finger. I'll have to touch that up. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and touch that blue up and then put a layer of dots over the car to help enhance the rust. Okay, I'm going to take this brush and just lightly fan. I want the dots to be as small as possible. We'll start down here. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. Alright, I'm going to apply one more final layer of dots with this burnt umber. Okay. I think that's good enough. Okay, I'm going to darken some of these areas around the windows. Those areas are usually filthy and ruined. Alright, I think that's pretty good. We'll let this dry and then I'll do some little fine details on the crumple areas. And then we'll do the final assembly. It's looking pretty good, but I want to add a little bit more rust on the hood in a couple areas. And that's it. Okay, before I put this together, I want to put a black wash on the interior. Bring out some of the detail. And make it look dirty, because it is going to be sitting in the junkyard. I'll let this piece dry, and then we'll do the final assembly. And then we'll cruise it around the junkyard diorama for a minute or two. Alright, finally ready for the final assembly. I also did the black wash on the door panels. So they look dirty too now. Get the windows in here. I did end up cleaning the windows off a little bit. They were so filthy. I should have left them be though, being in a junkyard, but it's alright. Oh, now maybe we can see the work I did on the interior. Gotta get the front grille in there, right? I gotta glue the back bumper on and then kind of give it some rust and black wash. And then it'll be done. I think that'll go right on there. Just gonna put some glue on the car and stick it on there. Here we have it. Almost looks like the actual bumper. Alright, I can't resist putting some kind of taillights in there. I'm gonna cut some plastic out of this and glue it in those spaces where the taillights should be. Okay, the back end has some taillights now. I think I'll go ahead and take it over to the junkyard diorama. Well, after looking at it for a few minutes, I couldn't stand that big hole where the bumper was broken off, so I put a piece of plastic in there and painted it this rusty color. At least it looks like there's some framework behind it and not just a hole. And overall, I'm very pleased with how it turned out. This could have been a demolition derby car. I would have went that route if it wasn't such a rare casting. I really didn't want to chop on it with the Dremel tool. If I ever get these parts that are missing, I could restore it back to the original very easily if I could just get those parts. So that's another reason I didn't want to cut on it either. I like this casting a lot. I'd like to restore it someday if I could find those pieces. But it looks really cool the way it is. I'm glad I didn't change the wheels. It's got a really interesting stance because it's been played with so many times. It doesn't really sit level, but it still rolls. So I like it. It looks like it needs new springs or shocks in the back. It's perfect. And it still rolls really good considering how abused it was. It's interesting that I painted it to look wrecked, and whoever played with it wanted it to look wrecked up. It actually came true. This sums up our custom 1976 Yatming Lincoln Continental IV junkyard diorama build. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, you could also check out my eBay store. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.
Well, hello everybody. That was a fun ride, wasn't it?